Imagine a seemingly ordinary man, a quiet schoolteacher and family man, living in the heart of the Soviet Union. Now imagine that same man is responsible for the unspeakable torture, mutilation, and murder of over 50 women and children. That's the horrifying reality of Andrei Chikatilo, the butcher of Rostov. Today, we're going to delve into the chilling story of Andrei Chikatilo. We'll explore his traumatic early life, the escalating savagery of his crimes, the desperate, politically charged hunt to stop him, and how he was finally unmasked and brought to justice. It's a story that reveals the darkest depths of human depravity, hidden within a system that initially refused to see it. Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo was born on October 16, 1936, in the village of Yabluk in Ukrainian SSR during the Holodomor, the devastating Soviet famine. His early life was marked by extreme deprivation and trauma. He later claimed his older brother was cannibalized during the famine, a horrific event that deeply scarred him and may have contributed to his later psychological issues. Chikatilo's childhood was far from normal. He was constantly bullied, described as a shy and withdrawn child. He suffered from bedwetting well into adolescence, a condition that brought him shame and ridicule. This period also saw the development of a complex sexual dysfunction, which would play a significant role in his later crimes. He struggled with impotence, particularly with adult women, which fueled a deep sense of inadequacy and rage. Academically, Chikatilo was a poor student, eventually failing to gain admission to university. He served in the Soviet Army from 1957 to 1960, where his social awkwardness and physical issues continued to plague him. His inability to conform or succeed in conventional ways further cemented his feelings of inferiority. Despite his struggles, Chikatilo married his wife, Fyodora, in 1963. They had 2 children, a daughter and a son. To the outside world, he appeared to be a devoted husband and father, a quiet, unremarkable citizen. This normal facade would be instrumental in allowing him to operate undetected for so long. Chikatilo pursued a career as a schoolteacher, though he was often fired due to his eccentric behavior and accusations of inappropriate conduct with students. He also worked in various industrial jobs. Despite his intelligence, he felt constantly undervalued and overlooked, fostering a deep resentment toward society. His chronic impotence, particularly with adult women, intensified his frustration. He found that he could only achieve sexual gratification through violence, specifically by mutilating and killing. The sexual dysfunction combined with a profound sense of humiliation and a growing desire for dominance and control. Before his full-blown killing spree, there were reports of Chikatilo attempting to molest children. These incidents were often dismissed or handled leniently by authorities, partly due to the Soviet system's reluctance to acknowledge widespread deviance, particularly among its citizens. By the late 1970s, Chikatilo's dark fantasies were no longer sufficient. The internal torment, fueled by his sexual dysfunction, feelings of inadequacy, and a perverse desire for control, propelled him towards violent action. The shift from dark thoughts to horrific deeds was imminent. The nightmare began in December 1978. Yelena Zakharova, a 9-year-old girl, disappeared from a train station in Rostov-on-Don. Her mutilated body was found shortly after. This was Chikatilo's first known murder, a horrific act that set the stage for years of terror. In 1981, Chikatilo was actually arrested and convicted for molesting a minor in Donetsk. He served a year in prison, but due to the victim's inability to identify him clearly and a lack of understanding of his deeper pathology, he was released. This was a critical missed opportunity, allowing him to resume his deadly activities. After his release, the killings intensified. Chikatilo primarily targeted vulnerable victims, young women, children, and teenagers, often lured from bus stops, train stations, or parks. He would approach them with a friendly demeanor, often offering help or a ride, before leading them to secluded areas where he would commit his atrocities. His initial victims were in the Rostov region, earning him the chilling moniker the Rostov Ripper in the Western press. though his crimes were far more widespread within the Soviet Union. Throughout the 1980s, Chikatilo's killing spree escalated in frequency and brutality. He traveled extensively by train, utilizing the vast Soviet railway network to find his victims across multiple regions: Rostov Oblast, Ukraine, and even Moscow. The sheer volume of his victims, often abducted in plain sight, was staggering. While communities were gripped by fear and whispers of a serial killer, the Soviet government's official stance was that such crimes were a Western phenomenon, not something that happened in a perfect socialist society. This dogma led to an institutional cover-up and hampered investigations, as authorities were reluctant to admit the scale of the problem. Chikatilo's methods were horrifyingly consistent. He would lure his victims, then stab, strangle, or beat them to death. Post-mortem, he engaged in extensive mutilation, often removing eyes, tongues, breasts, and genitals. He would also bite his victims, and in many cases, consume parts of their flesh or drink their blood. These acts were intrinsically linked to his perverse sexual gratification, serving as a substitute for his impotence. His confirmed victim list grew rapidly, encompassing both male and female victims, ranging in age from 7 to 45. From 1982 to 1990, a continuous stream of disappearances and gruesome discoveries terrorized the region. Victims were found near railway lines, forests, and remote areas, their bodies bearing the hallmarks of his horrific attacks. Many of these victims' bodies were never fully recovered or were so disfigured that identification was incredibly difficult. Law enforcement was initially baffled and severely hampered by the political climate. The focus was often misdirected, leading to the wrongful arrests and even executions of innocent individuals. One man, Alexander Kravchenko, was unjustly executed for a murder committed by Chikatilo. Forensic science in the Soviet Union was less advanced than in the West, and information sharing between regional police forces was poor. The official refusal to acknowledge a serial killer meant that resources were not appropriately allocated, and the investigation proceeded in a fragmented, uncoordinated manner. By the mid-1980s, under increasing public pressure and the undeniable pattern of killings, a large-scale police operation known as Forest Strip was launched. Thousands of officers, detectives, and even military personnel were involved, focusing on railway lines and forested areas. A crucial piece of evidence emerged. The killer's semen, found at crime scenes, revealed he had type AB blood. However, Chikatilo was a secretor, meaning his blood type was found in his bodily fluids, but his actual blood type was different. This scientific nuance was initially missed, contributing to the prolonged hunt. Chikatilo was actually interrogated by police multiple times throughout the investigation due to his suspicious behavior and proximity to crime scenes. He was even questioned about the blood type discrepancy, but managed to evade suspicion due to a combination of his outwardly calm demeanor, the flawed understanding of secretor status, and the investigators' focus on finding a classic criminal profile. In November 1990, after another murder, investigators decided to focus intense surveillance on suspicious individuals known to frequent the areas where bodies were found. Chikatilo was spotted near a crime scene, acting nervously and attempting to flee. This led to his final arrest on November 20th, 1990. Initially, Chikatilo denied everything. However, a brilliant psychological tactic by forensic psychiatrist Alexander Chikatilo, who understood the killer's deep-seated sexual pathology, finally broke him. Chikatilo spoke to Chikatilo about his impotence and his need for violence, hitting upon the core of his motivations. This led to a flood of confessions, chillingly detailed and extensive. Over the next several weeks, Chikatilo led investigators to numerous burial sites, detailing his crimes with unnerving precision. He confessed to 56 murders, though he was ultimately charged with 53. The sheer volume of his confessions shocked the world, revealing the true scope of his reign of terror. Andrei Chikatilo's trial, held in 1992, was a harrowing affair with graphic testimony and horrifying evidence. The courtroom was enclosed in a cage for his protection from angry relatives of his victims. Despite his attempts to feign insanity, the evidence was overwhelming, supported by his detailed confessions. He was found guilty of 52 murders and sentenced to death. After a series of appeals, Andrei Chikatilo was executed by a single gunshot to the back of the head on February 14, 1994, at Novichokov prison, bringing an end to one of history's most prolific and depraved serial killers. Chikatilo's case had a profound impact on Soviet and later Russian law enforcement. It forced a painful acknowledgement of the existence of serial killers within their society and led to significant reforms in forensic science, interagency cooperation, and criminal profiling. The case also shed light on the devastating consequences of official secrecy and political dogma on criminal investigations. The story of Andrei Chikatilo is a stark reminder of the evil that can exist within society and the importance of open investigation and advanced forensic techniques. What aspect of this chilling case do you find most disturbing? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in more true crime stories that delve into the dark side of humanity, make sure to subscribe.